It's time for Pod of the Dead. Join us!
It was literally like, I was like, that's amazing.
I'm sorry.
All right, we'll just start from the top.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to Pod of the Dead. I'm your host, Nicholas, and with me as always are the two ladies, Stephanie and Natasha.
Hello. Hi, guys.
On today's episode, we are covering the 2006 horror film Silent Hill. Before our homework for this week, what was your history or understanding of this movie?
I grew up watching this game with you, Nick. And that was kind of it. I had never seen the movie version. I just knew a little bit about the game.
Yeah, and I just you talk about Silent Hill probably every episode and then multiple times and are probably once a week, that kind of stuff. So that's all I knew about Silent Hill the movie. I didn't even know much about the video game other than when you and Noelle were playing it a couple weeks ago. So that was my first exposure to it, like in real life, because I didn't know anything about it. And then we got to watch the movie. So it was an experience.
Yeah, I would like the listeners to understand that the Silent Hill that I talk about all the time is the video games, specifically like 1 through 4, not the movie.
There's a reason for that.
Well, I mean, I've got some feels for this movie. And there's reasons for it. But this I was super stoked when this came out because up until this point, Konami had not made a bad Silent Hill game. Like I said, it was the first 4 games. The 4th one I wasn't crazy about, but it was still like ooky, spooky, creepy, messed up kind of shit. So I went and saw this in theaters twice. There are very specific reasons for me liking this movie. And a lot of it just stems from my love of the games. So I'm definitely more nostalgic and stuff for this. Like the second movie that they made for this, Revelations, is dog shit on Main Street. It is fucking
it's
horrible.
Even worse.
It's just a bad movie. This one, at least for me, it does check a lot of boxes. Like, this is a movie I have watched quite a few times, specifically because it's quicker to watch this movie and get the vibe than it is to like go buy a like $300 copy of Silent Hill 2 or something like that, and you have to get a PS2 because none of them are on like the e-shops and stuff like that. So it's just like, you know what? I could go for some like some fog and some rusty chain link and stuff like that. And the movie obviously has its flaws and stuff, but it's still like it checks a lot of boxes for me in that sense. So yeah, That's the reason this movie was put on the list. Was I previously mentioned on the last episode, there was supposed to be a new movie coming out. It's still supposed to come out this year, but then also they just released Silent Hill: The Short Message, which is a free game on the PlayStation Network. And then possibly this spring still, there is a new Silent Hill 2 remake. So I was like, you know what? While the iron's hot, this is probably the only time that this movie will get covered. So figured it's kind of a lot of people have seen this. It did. Like, I remember seeing it in Findlay. With like a decent audience both times. So, yeah. So, this came out in 2006. What do you think its budget was?
Well, there's a lot of CGI.
A lot.
A lot.
Some of it's really bad.
The acting is garbage, so...
Whoa.
We're going to say the 7.5 million.
Okay. I'm going to go with 5.
5 million. And 7.5 million? Is that what I heard?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the budget for this movie in 2006 was $50 million.
Oh my God.
So,
Wow.
That's terrible.
Wow.
so yeah, like this movie,
Wow.
yeah, like it kind of shows it in a way, I think, because like the thing you have to think about, all right, 2006, like I'm straight out of high school. I've been out for just a couple of years. Same with you, Steph. Tasha's like maybe, where are you at? Senior, junior, somewhere in there?
Junior.
Okay. So like the amount of special effects that they have in this movie, and like obviously the price is not like you can do more and all that, like so it's going to look a lot better and whatever. But like, yes, there are some spots in this movie that the CG looks fucking god awful.
Yeah.
The babies.
Yeah, specifically like the baby creature things and whatnot. But the world changing stuff and all those kind of effects and stuff, I think are really well done and actually hold up pretty well. But that being said, yep, $50 million. So that being said, what do you think it ended up bringing in the box office worldwide?
Well, you said it's really popular and it's based off a video game, and usually movies that are based off video games, like, well, Resident Evil.
Just because I'm saying it's not that it's really popular or anything like that. Like it just like got a wide release and stuff, and you see this on TV and stuff. Like I think a lot of people, like just like Resident Evil and stuff, I think a lot of people have come across this and watched it. Whether that means that they liked it or not is up
I'm gonna go with it made $35 million.
Okay.
I say it made $127 million.
All right. It made $100.6 million.
Oh,
That's close.
So it doubled its budget. And like I said, it made enough money for Konami to allow them to make a second movie. So
yeah, that's true.
Konami is the company that is responsible for financing this game series and everything. Konami is kind of like the big bad guy when it comes to video game companies anymore, because they've got a couple really popular IPs. And they just decide that they don't want to really make video games so much anymore up until like this year, roughly. But like forever, they own Silent Hill, Metal Gear, so the Metal Gear Solid games, and they own Castlevania.
Okay.
So like these are three hugely important, for lack of a better term, video game properties that for the longest time they were like, we're just good with making pachinko machines and stuff like that. And like,
oh wow!
We just pinball machines and stuff. And like people have been like, can we please, like, we'll buy the rights from you. Sony was actually in talks about actually buying the rights of those, and there's like, we're just gonna hold on to them, like whatever. So a lot of people have said like Konami is not the best company when it comes to their relations with their consumers and stuff like that. So it took 5 years for Christoph Gans, the director of this movie, to even get them to be like, okay, I guess
Wow.
you can make a film on this. And I think it's specifically because Resident Evil films had been made, and the Silent Hill series was essentially Konami's way of going, hey, I see that they're making money in the West with this game. So Konami, whoever the head of development and stuff, was like, hey, we want you guys to make a horror game specifically for the Western audience. So yeah, and I'll go into that a little bit more later, but Tasha, do you want to tell us exactly what Silent Hill the movie is?
Yes, Silent Hill film is a 2006 supernatural horror film directed by Christoph Gans and written by Roger Avery, based on the video game series of the same name published by Konami. The first installment in the Silent Hill film series, it stars Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean, Laurie Holden, Deborah Kara Unger, Kim Coates, Tanya Allen, Alice Krieg, and Jodelle Furland. The plot follows Rose da Silva, who takes her adopted daughter Sharon to the town of Silent Hill, for which Sharon cries while sleepwalking. Rose is involved in a car accident near the town and awakens to find Sharon missing. While searching for her daughter, she finds a local cult and begins to uncover Sharon's connections to the town's dark past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the movie. Like,
is that also the game?
Not really. There's,
okay.
And I'll explain some of that when, like, more of the departures and stuff when we get past spoiler territory and things. But yeah, so when I was talking about that, Konami was talking to developer or their creative teams and stuff like that. What basically happened was they took all of the, for lack of a better term, like the guys that weren't good enough or being used on other projects, and they just smashed them together, and they're like, hey, we don't really give a shit. Like, there's going to be like no oversight. Just fucking make us a horror game for the West. So that's what they were told. Huh. Now, there are two specific people, and this is very important, I feel, to explain this so you can understand kind of where they came from to make this film, because otherwise it's just like you take the film for what it is, and it's just like, what the fuck? So,
yep.
So it was called Team Silent. It was a group of creators and stuff that ran from like 96 to 2004. They're the ones that were responsible for the first 4 games. So that's what they had to pull from when they made this movie. They basically pull from 1 and 2. But the 2 people that are really important is Takayoshi Sato. He is the artist of the game. So he's the one that was responsible for all the creature designs, the real griminess of the world and things like that. And then a personal favorite person to me is Akira Yamaoka. He was the composer and then later on became a director in the series. But he's very important in the sense of the sound design, the music, or as some of the people in the offices when he brought what he composed for the video game and stuff, they thought that something was screwing up and it was just a lot of grinding noises and stuff. And he's like, no, this is, and then he had to explain like what industrial music is and what, all this kind of stuff. So those 2 people are very important to what I was referring to as like the vibes of Silent Hill, the look and like the sound and everything. That is the reason that I have a soft spot for this film, is because of that stuff. That's what they got right in this movie. But yeah, so yeah, sorry, I guess in advance to you girls. I don't know. I know Tasha was she sent me a text the other day that definitely kind of spoke volumes in about one sentence. But I would like to say, so you had to rent this twice, is that correct?
Yes, I did. So I rented it the first time, not thinking about the whole, once you rent a movie, you have to watch it within 24 hours of starting it. So I started it Thursday, rented it Thursday, started it Thursday. We had all decided we weren't recording Thursday, so I stopped the movie, went on a trip with you guys over the weekend, and then needed to watch it by yesterday. So bought it yesterday. Had to buy it again because my rental had lapsed.
And
so
how much did you spend renting it?
I spent $8.
So you could have basically gotten a month of Netflix for that price, and it's on Netflix.
And I don't have Netflix.
I know, but I'm saying you could have
but
just...
had I... Yeah, I see your logic.
You could have just made up an email and gotten it for free for 7 days, but you were like, damn it, no, I want to spend my monies. Right. I want to give them.
I want to torture myself and spend money. So yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah. So Christoph Gans, when creating this movie and stuff, he wanted to pay homage to the works of like Salvador Dali, Francis Bacon, who is a huge influence on Yoshi Sato. I'm going to ruin some of these names, and I apologize in advance, with how grimy and depressingly like oppressive some of the artwork and creature design is in this.
What was his name again?
Francis Bacon.
Francis Bacon.
Yep. Also, Clive Barker, which is the guy that did like Hellraiser and the like H.P. Lovecraft. David Cronenberg being the father of Brandon Cronenberg from last week's episode. So, yeah, he wanted to pay homage to those people in this film. And then when Team Silent was making a horror film for the West, they took a lot of inspiration. It's so weird. So it's like when you think Western horror, you think like, Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, and I guess I'm just naming Wes Craven films. But they decided, you know what speaks to me for the Western audience? David Lynch films. David Lynch and like Stephen King stuff. That's where they went, and that's why there's so much like dream logic and weirdness in it. So coming from that place, when like, because I remember the first time I had ever read that's like, oh, for a Western audience, look at what they do and make a game. And it's like, this is a fucking fever dream. I don't understand where you look at Britney Spears and you come out the other side with like 9 Inch Nails. Like, it's very strange.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so let's see here. It, like I said, it came out in 2006, and 2006 has to be, without a doubt, one of the worst years when it comes to horror. It is such a shitty year, in my opinion, when it comes to horror. So I'm wondering if that has a little bit to do with like why I liked this movie as much as I did back when it came out, because granted, we're in the throes of like the torture porn kind of era and stuff, because this is like the same year that like Hostel came out and everything. But for like 2006, like your top 10 horror films were like the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man remake.
Okay.
Nope.
The Grudge 2. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning.
Okay.
The Hills Have Eyes, which is a remake.
Ooh. I thought some people liked that, or is that a bad movie?
It's okay. It's actually by Alexandre Aja, the guy that did High Tension. He did the remake for that.
Okay.
Silent Hill. Hostel. When a Stranger Calls remake. Final Destination 3. The Omen remake. And Saw 3. Like, that's your top 10. That's your top 10.
That's not good.
That's kind of rough.
And yeah, so not the greatest year when it comes to horror, but like even then, the top 10 films for that year, none of them are horror. Shocker.
Yeah, that's
like,
very rare anly.
So here we go. I'm just going to kind of read through these, and we'll see what you guys remember from 2006. A little movie called Happy Feet.
That's adorable. I love that movie.
Superman Returns.
Nope.
I don't know. Yeah.
Mission Impossible 3. I just watched that yesterday.
Watched that yesterday. I was going to say, yeah.
X-Men: The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cars.
That was cute.
Night at the Museum.
Yeah. I love that movie.
Casino Royale, the James Bond movie.
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
Ice Age: The Meltdown.
No.
Okay.
The Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks.
I love that
very
movie.
Good book.
I like the movie too.
And the number one movie for 2006 was Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest.
Yay! Those movies are awesome.
So that kind of gives you like the landscape of films at this time and everything. So like comparing this to stuff now and everything, it's like, of course, it doesn't hold up. But like at the same time, it's like, look at Happy Feet.
That movie's adorable. Here's what's crazy about that.
10.
Yeah. Well, think about this though. So Pirates of the Caribbean came out. They also had to use a lot of like CG and all that stuff in it.
That's also Disney though.
I know.
Yeah.
So their budget's a lot higher. I get that. But the quality of that still holds up, right? So but this movie doesn't. I think all those movies still hold up pretty well.
Not so much. I mean, granted, yes, there are well, okay, so we're talking about the kids in this movie, like the creepy whatever kind of
The
kid or whatever.
babies, yeah.
Yeah, the babies.
Yeah.
They didn't look good in 2006. So I remember seeing that in the movie, and it's like right off the rip, and I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck. But at least they got it out of the way at the beginning. Most of my problems with this film specifically are the young girl actress in this film.
Yes.
That is a rough one for me, but
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all the acting in this movie is a little rough for me, honestly.
really all of it?
I think so. Like the mom did okay, but like, and the dad was kind of.
No.
I like Sean Bean. I don't know. I didn't think the acting was that great. And then the old lady, my favorite lady was actually like the crotchety old witchy one. So
Dahlia.
yeah. So
Yeah, Dahlia comes from the video games. The other older woman, I've got her name here somewhere, Christabella. She's actually original character for the
Okay.
movie.
Oh, really?
There's a couple character. Well, there's huge story points in this that are just new to it and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, like, and I'll get into a lot of that after the spoiler warning.
All right, I have a lot to say.
One that I can just tell you right now is, so like Rose does not exist in the games at all.
Right.
She is a gender swap of Harry. So
okay.
and it's about a man going after his daughter. So by having that, there was really no talks about Harry's wife or anything in this in the game. So the whole storyline with Sean Bean does
Mhm.
not exist. That's
Or the detective and all that stuff.
none of that. None
Okay.
of that exists in the game.
Okay.
But
I like the detective. He's a good actor because he's in Sons of Anarchy.
yeah, you pointed that out when we were watching. I was like, oh shit, he's the one that's like, his kid gets burned alive in front of him in a pit, right? You're like,
Yeah, it is.
you're like, yeah,
man.
That's him.
that's him.
Ooh.
But yeah, I'm trying to look up real quick so I can throw some shade because she's older now, so I can talk shit about this kid actress. Jodelle Ferland, I guess is her name. Let me double check.
Oh, you're talking about the daughter? I was talking about the cop. Okay.
Oh, Sybil.
yeah,
Sybil.
she is terrible.
Oh,
she
I
is. She was the worst.
She was
So
really.
bad.
She was the worst.
Yeah.
Worse than the
Yes.
little kid. The
I
little
think so.
kid that is acting like she is 4 the whole fucking film.
Yeah, but you have to realize, like, we also watched like The Exorcist and the girl, and they're supposed to be
Oh,
like
so
9,
much-
and then she acts like a little child
So
too.
much better
Like,
though. You cannot compare those two at all. Like I understand, like yeah, she acts like not
she's
proper
child,
age,
like not her
but
age.
nothing. She's not sitting there going meow, meow, and shit like that. Like, do you
We-
not
we
remember
have
that,
a-
I
Tasha?
we-
missed that part.
It's
we
when
almost-
when they're laying by the tree and everything. She's showing her pictures and stuff.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
We have a 13-year-old who would probably do that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
No.
I blame
Yes.
it on the writing and the direction.
I agree.
Yeah. But
So I think I liked her. That I didn't notice.
I didn't think any of the acting was great, but I didn't like hate the little girl, and I didn't hate the mom.
see, I'm actually shocked that you guys said Sybil was the worst. That's
Sybil and the mom were not
Rose.
good.
Rose
Yeah.
and Sybil. Yeah.
And then the redhead in the church.
Oh,
But-
yeah. Anna.
Get into that
She's
later.
been in quite a few things too.
Yeah.
So
So, all right, we're gonna throw up that spoiler warning so we can really
Thank you.
so we can really let loose and everything. But before we do that, this is a movie club. So every week we give out homework at the end of the episode, and we all watch it together. Then we talk about it, whether we loved it, whether we hated it. I think these girls are right there about giving this movie possibly their first 10s.
yes, 100%. You're right. Yep.
But
No.
if you have not seen Silent Hill, it's on Netflix currently. We're going to get into spoiler territory, so if you don't want it ruined for you, go fast forward to like the last 10-15 minutes of the episode. That's where we're going to give out our homework. for next week's episode, so you can watch it and listen to the next episode. But beyond this point, you have been warned. There's
Let's get at it.
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. So we are going to go into the foggy world that is Silent Hill.
Yes, we are.
So if you want to be a part of our club, you can find us at facebook.com/podofthedead or else on Instagram at pod_of_the_dead or on TikTok at podofthedead. If you want to email us any questions, any complaints, or movie recommendations, you can email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com.
All right, let's hear. Hey, Tasha, you want to give me that 10
Nick.
out of 10?
She's so excited for this.
I don't, but I will. I just don't want to. Okay, none of these words are the opinions of the reader.
Okay.
Say that right now. I've watched this movie a lot in the past, but I always forget that it just throws you in. Granted, they do a good job at explaining everything to me, so that makes up for it. The story was amazing.
No.
It deals with multiple subjects that a lot of people can sadly relate to. And for children thing, they may be currently... let me start that over. It deals with multiple subjects that a lot of people can sadly relate to, and for children's things they may be currently dealing with. Because of that, I'd say that this movie is great for most ages and a stunning horror film for the whole family.
Yeah, Tasha. Wait, hold on.
Right.
For the whole family?
For the whole family.
Do they remember the end?
I guess not.
Okay. Hey, Grandma, you want to see barbed wire go into someone's hoo-ha?
Yeah, or someone's flesh just get ripped straight from their body.
Hell yeah.
I do think it's a little weird that you don't get to know the child's history when adopting them. And I personally believe that knowing their background can help parents approach on raising them. Okay, I do agree with that part. Visually, this movie is breathtaking. The way the town of Silent Hill transforms is amazing and unlike anything I've ever seen.
No.
Preach.
No.
As I've stated in past reviews, I adore movies that belittle or portray religious groups in a negative, aka honest manner.
I agree with that.
So this was extra enjoyable for me. The atmosphere was enchanting, calm yet interesting. I couldn't love this movie more if I tried.
Wow.
The only thing I don't understand is why Rose and her daughter remain on another plane of existence rather than have things return to normal after leaving Silent Hill.
Which I agree with that too. That makes no sense.
That doesn't even make sense for the games and everything. Like,
Okay.
when I was talking about like how they just kind of made a bunch of shit up, like that's kind of one of them. Like,
So that alternate timeline thing isn't a thing in the games at all.
I mean, the layers of reality and stuff definitely are. Being stuck in the town and not being able to escape because the roads are literally crumbled around you and stuff. That's 100% from the game. There's a lot that is from the game, but the narrative of it is so fucking like chopped up and bastardized that it's really hard to like, oh, you like Silent Hill games? Or like you really like the first Silent Hill? You should watch this. No. It's like, do you really like the Silent Hill series, but you don't want to sit down and watch that and you just want to kind of hear Akira Yamaoka's music and see some foggy stuff and like see Pyramid Head and shit like that? Fucking, I'll just throw this on. Whatever. Like, I am currently wearing a Silent Hill t-shirt right now.
Yes, you are.
But that's because of my like pure love for the games. Like, that's it.
And I can understand where you're coming from with that. Like, I absolutely loved The Last of Us. And I know that was very highly rated, but I think that series will always stick with me because of the same reason as you with Silent Hill. You're living the show, you're living the movie by playing the games.
Yeah.
So, and that one followed a lot more closely, but there were bits in that show that I didn't like because they didn't line up with the game.
Yeah. And there's not bits in this movie. It is glaring.
So I would have been upset going into this movie had I played the games like you. Did you?
Oh yeah.
You were the same? Yeah.
Well, no, I did, because I went into it like knowing like I'm able to separate myself in that sense. Like, this is not going to be the game. You can't do that. Now, they obviously did a bunch of other shit, but I was just like, it's still, like I said, it still got the vibe of it. It still got the feeling of it a bit here and there. And there are like specific shots that are exact from the video game, which are cool.
I was wondering, because there were certain bits that like it didn't quite make sense, or it seemed a little forced, and I was wondering if that was because it was pulled straight from the game.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Steph, give me that sacrilege, that 1 out of 10.
There's not very many paragraphs here, so let's see. The production on this film was great. Sound design wasn't great, but it was done the just. Visual, but it done. I have no idea. The visuals were generally great, and I loved the photography. But this is probably one of the worst films I've ever seen.
I love that. There's like,
these are,
oh god,
they're giving you a shit sandwich right now, guys.
It's beautiful. The sound design is a little lacking. Worst goddamn thing I've ever seen.
Nothing held water. The plot was confusing and pointless, and it is such a terrible waste of a great actor like Sean Bean. If people want to sit at home on their personal computers and play games with disposable plots, then fine. If they gain enjoyment out of the gameplay, kudos to them. But I am not really sure how this film would work as a game, let alone a film. I'm not sure I could go as far as to say the ending was cliche, because even a cliche would serve a purpose. This didn't. I don't normally write reviews of anything, but I felt compelled to sit here and type this. I just feel sorry for the crew and production departments who did a fantastic job on making a dire film look and sound great. I
can actually stand by that. I wouldn't give it a 1, but yeah, like I specifically just said that it fucking looks great. Granted, there's parts that look shitty, but
there's quite a few parts that look shitty.
It looks great. Well, okay, so you don't understand. There are a few things in my life that like I was into, and then it got turned into a movie. Specifically, when the real world turns into the dark world, and you see it. Mm-hmm. That's the first time you'd ever seen that in that detail and stuff, because we're talking PS2, we're talking PS2 graphics stuff. So like I was just like, we're there. You know, the only other time that I can remember is like the first time seeing Spider-Man, like in a Spider-Man movie.
Oh
and stuff like that. Those are like the two things. But yeah, like I agree. Like there's a lot of shortcomings of this film, stemming from story,
okay, so
acting.
Here's a big question for me about the whole plot as a whole. So, okay, this is what makes no sense to me. And it just starts at the very beginning. So this little girl has night terrors, or she has nightmares. Yes. And we are to believe that, you know, she wakes up and goes searching for something in her sleep, right? Correct. So her mom decides, who doesn't know her backstory, doesn't know anything, says, hey, we're going to go to this abandoned town that's had some terrible shit happen to it, and I'm going to allow my daughter to be a part of that.
She doesn't know that. She doesn't know that going in.
She does once they get close to there, they tell her that.
She just knows it's an abandoned town and that the road doesn't go through there.
Yeah, but she still chooses to take her and do all of this stuff, and without her husband, and without his without his support either.
Oh, you were about to say his permission.
I was going to say
because women need their husband's permission. To make a checking account, to possibly think about voting.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, but yeah, so like, where does the video game start? Because to me, as a mom, like I understand they want to get her help because she's got some traumatic stuff going on, and I understand that there's a tie to her past and things like that. But like, that part in itself, just starting out the entire movie, and I understand it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. It's just a fucking movie, and you just go along with it. I get that. But to me, I'm trying to make logic of it as a parent. And like when somebody tells me, well, you can't get to it, you can't do this, and like you're not thinking of other ways to get her help. And it just seems like they didn't really, other than the mom like one day just was like, we're going to this town, and the dad's like, I don't want you to do that, and the mom's like, but we're doing it. And like, what?
The video games that doesn't even exist. So the video game starts In the opening cutscene, like when the music's playing, Harry is just driving with his daughter Cheryl. Not sure why they
didn't even keep her name.
So the names are already gone. And a woman walks out in front of the car. They wreck the car. They wreck the car.
Like in the game or in the movie. Okay.
He wakes up. She's missing.
Okay.
He goes into town, gets the whole child scene and everything, and wakes up in the diner.
Okay.
And Sybil's there. So basically, like, it's kind of like this like dream scenario of like, oh shit, what's going on? It's like the first time that you're seeing this stuff and everything, but then you're also like, oh, maybe it was a dream. So the
cop lady is there.
Yeah, 100% is there. And like, you have to also understand this is like 1999, I believe the first game came out and stuff, and she's just like, oh well, there's some stuff going on. Here, have this gun. I'm off. And then like you see her a couple times or whatever.
But that's a video game, and that's how video games are played. I mean, that's different than trying to make a story like this. And like the other part that really got me also in the beginning, which is what made me irritated from just the get-go, was the fucking cop in general. So she's like goes over to like their car as they're at the gas station and like tries to talk to the little girl, and the little girl's like, I don't talk to strangers or whatever, and the girl's like, good for you. And then she follows them and like she pulls them over, but like why? And then of course she runs off so they don't want to get arrested or whatever is going on.
Which doesn't make any sense.
None of it makes sense.
No. See, like all of that, literally all the way till like she wrecks the car, right?
Yeah.
All of that stuff, they wrote that. Like they're
terrible writers.
They made all that shit up. And it's like,
they need to write plots better, because that plot was shitty. And like, I get sometimes when you don't want to fill in all the blanks because it's not necessary, but when you're filling in the blanks that like in order to literally drive your story forward, and it doesn't make any fucking sense, maybe you shouldn't write that. Maybe they should have just done what they did in the video game and dropped you into this world and not gave us all this backstory that was actually unnecessary, and then done like maybe like weird like memory lapses, like where they're like thinking about why they're coming here and like doing those things, instead of us having to go through the entire however many minutes at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. So yeah, like they wreck the car, and then the rest of the game is literally Harry just going through the town of Silent Hill. Crazy shit's happening, and he's just trying to find his daughter. She's leaving coloring like drawings and stuff that are kind of leading him.
Which that happens in the movie, kind of.
But then they like try to make it like, I don't remember drawing this, mommy. It scares me, mommy. I fucking hate that shit. Like, it doesn't even come off real. Like, it's really bad. But so that's essentially what it is. You're like kind of going along, getting these little crumbs and stuff, putting some weird stuff together. There's also a huge subplot in the video game about this doctor, his name, I think it's Huffman, Dr. Huffman, is like running this drug through the town and everything. So you've kind of got that going on. They don't touch it. I understand, you know, that's...
They can't fill every gap in. Yeah.
Correct. But instead, what they do decide to fill in and everything is like, so this whole mining town and everything and like the coal miners stuff. And it's like, yeah, it looks neat or whatever, but it also doesn't... has nothing to do with the game whatsoever. The game, so there's fog and it's snow in the game, and then Christoph Gans, correct. Christoph Gans learned about the town Centralia, Pennsylvania, which is a real town that has a coal mine fire still burning underneath it. The whole town is closed, and there is a light fog in the town. And he's like, "That's what we'll do. We'll just do it like that."
Because they're trying to fill in the gaps of the plot and making it more realistic.
That's fine, but then they're just like, no, we're going to do it this huge way, and we're going to really lean into that. And it's like, does it really need to? To the point then, I do not understand this at all. You have Dahlia, who is the mom of Alessa, right?
Yeah.
So the whole thing of like Alessa and Cheryl, that is kind of what the game is there's this girl that was burnt because of religious reasons, and the good part of her was sent out and that is Sharon/Cheryl.
Okay. I can understand that.
For some reason,
maybe that's why she acts younger, because like that's the innocence of
Yeah.
her versus like the other part of her. So that would make more sense to me as to why she has that personality.
the huge big difference though, her mom Dahlia, that's the one who fucking did all of it. That is, she's the one who, like, she was
jealous of her daughter or something.
No, she's the cult fanatic.
She's a religious zealot. Okay.
So Christabel doesn't exist because Christabel and Dahlia are the same fucking
person.
character.
Okay.
And there's not like all of these cult members. Like there's not this church full of cult members. It's just Dahlia because Dahlia is stuck here. The people that are here are stuck here because Alessa is punishing them. So that's the shit that's like really cool about the first game, like, is that's what's going on. And you as Harry go through and find this shit out slowly but surely, and by the end of it, when you win the game, there's a few different endings, but the end, Cheryl and Alessa, or Shannon, Cheryl, wow, I can't remember what they're called in the movie, but they get pushed back together or whatever, and it's actually redone as like an infant. So Harry takes the infant and has to re-raise it or whatever. So there's a lot of weird, different kind of endings and stuff. The best ending though that they should have done for the movie is like you'll see lights in the sky, and this is, you can only do this like on the second playthrough and so on. See lights in the sky, you can do some crazy stuff. There's an alien ending where aliens beam you up, and it turns out the whole time it was a corgi that was like this was all like a movie and stuff. It's like that's like this huge comical ending or whatever. That's what they should have done. 10 out of 10.
I love that.
Space
That
corgi.
reminds me of the Mortal Kombat finishes. That was like handing them for ticket. Like the funny ones.
Yeah, the friendships and the babalities.
Yeah.
The babalities, yeah.
But yeah, so like there's like those kind of things. There are huge departures. Another huge departure is the fact that Pyramid Head is in this movie. Pyramid Head only makes sense in the second game because of how that game works out. It's the same city or town or whatever, but Pyramid Head is the embodiment of guilt and punishment of the main character in that. So, so it's this with one,
but it's a cool looking character.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's why they added it. It's like, we gotta have like this fucking like really cool, like the two cool things in this movie when it comes to monsters, him and the nurses. Both come from the second game.
They're awesome. Yeah, both of those I thought were awesome. The other scene that I thought was kind of like was really creepy, but it was interesting, was the bathroom scene. Like
Janitor.
She's seeing all these, the body parts and stuff, and like that was creepy as fuck. But like, and then I do like when like the sounds go off and then like the world starts changing. I thought that was really creative. Like for a second when you first see it, because they don't explain it in the movie at all. Like you're like, what the hell is going on? Well, okay, I guess they do explain it, but they explain it like almost towards the end when you get to deal with the religious zealots, right? So like you're just wondering why the world is like, the walls are like looking weird again all of a sudden. So like when we were watching it, I was like, okay, so we know we're in an alternate planet, like plane, not planet. And then when all of this like darkness comes, are we then in another one, or is it just coming? So like that was where I was trying to figure out, like, were we like basically going into another world and we were just like being submerged into it, or was that just coming towards us? Like I didn't know because it wasn't explaining it very well, but because I didn't know if there was like a siren to tell us that's what we were doing. I didn't know.
Yeah, in the games, the first game specifically, I'm trying to remember this. I know it's in the first game a lot. Maybe it's in all of them. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But yeah, the siren does go off and stuff, and that's when shit would change. A lot of the changes would happen, like you just like go down into like a certain area and come back up, and everything was changed because of technical, limitations and stuff like that. But I thought they did kind of an interesting way of explaining why the air raid siren would go off, because it's warning the cult members to get inside and everything. But like these are the things that they like focused on so much in the film that it wasn't there. Like it wasn't there in the source material, and they made this movie 2 hours long. It doesn't
they did.
It doesn't need to be 2 hours long. It
No.
could have
So
been.
are you saying Anna isn't part of the game at all?
Nope.
Her character acts as if she's like a non-playable character in a game. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Very
she seems like
NPC
the person,
energy.
right? She seems like the person you're supposed to follow
Yeah.
to get out of a building. I thought for sure she was a part of the game.
Nope.
Wow.
But also, it could be said that, okay, so Gans wanted to do this film and have a lot of, like, you know, homages and stuff to all these different things. And we already know that the Silent Hill games are heavily influenced by David Lynch. David Lynch has a lot of that kind of stuff going on. If you've ever watched Twin Peaks, it's got a very, like, unsettling. It's not that it's like creepy, like in your face creepy. It doesn't fully make sense. Like, it's like that uncanny valley. It's like, I know these are people. Like, I think this is it's one of those, like, things that I've heard. It's like, it's almost like it's a television show made by somebody that's never seen a television show, like an alien or something. It's like, this is what I think people act like. So it kind of has that in a bit with some of the characters in this movie, but not in a good way.
No, it didn't translate.
No. So I'm wondering if, like, when we're talking about direction and stuff, if that was the intention, good or bad, I don't give a shit. But I'm wondering if it was a conscious decision to make these people act the way they did, because otherwise it's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But
because a lot of them, Dahlia is the same way. I think the woman in blue that isn't, Christabel, they all have that quality. It's either as if they're a game character or they're just not a good actor. There isn't anything that seems like real.
Correct.
I guess.
Yeah, and then to go back to the Sean Bean and detective guy, all that stuff. So I'd heard this a while back. I can't remember where I heard it, but I couldn't find it with my research. So I'm just going to bring it up anyway. So all the Sean Bean stuff and everything, and then run length, there's a very big reason why we linger on that stuff. So when they originally made the movie, they had to do some reshoots and stuff later on, because the people fronting the money was like, I don't think people will go see this movie with it all just being women. Because if you really think about it, in the town of Silent Hill, it's almost all women. Like, that you're actually,
other than some of the congregation, really, the whole storyline is.
But those, like, they're not even named. Every named character that you come in contact with is a woman
or a girl. Yeah.
So they were like, well, you know, we got Sean Bean. So they, like, just started pushing more of that stuff. Like, he was already in it, but they were like, well, let's just, like, flesh out some of these bits a little more, and let's, like, hold there and everything.
But the detective stuff and all of that was just kind of pointless. Like, it was just filler. Like, we could have just stayed realistically in the town the entire time and made it shorter, and it would be more interesting than caring about what this side. Because it's almost like he's trying to play the hero, and it's like, we don't need the hero. We just need the mom or whoever's playing the parent in this to do their job. And I don't care if it was a woman or a man. It's just they chose to have it as the mom because, for whatever reason, that's what they decided. Well, and it's just weird.
Dan said that the leitmotif of this film was motherhood, faith, and persecution.
Okay.
And it 100%, it's like, it's very much like almost blatant at times, where, you know, it's like, mother is God in the eyes of the child, like that kind of stuff. Very, very bumper stickery.
Well, they tell you that too in the storyline or something like that too. I can't remember.
She straight up,
multiple times.
Rose straight up says that to Dahlia, like verbatim, like, why isn't she punishing me? And it's like, because you're her mother, and mother is God in the eyes of the child. It's like, oh my God.
They're just handing it to you. Yeah.
But like the whole, like, making it like the witch trial stuff and everything.
That's what it felt a lot like too.
Yeah.
And like the faith stuff and all that, because like they definitely like poke the finger at it, you know, like the whole your faith brings death, like all that kind of stuff. A lot of overacting and underacting. Mm-hmm. So
I like the culty parts. Like, I thought that was cool, and like, I mean, I didn't think the acting was great, but I like the aspect of like, this is why we're here, because these people are assholes, and she's like locking them in another dimension because she's, you know, seeking her revenge. Like, that's kind of cool. But I mean, the end of it, when they were in the church and like on these, which I don't understand any of this. So why are these on these really tall fucking ladders? What's the purpose of the tall ladders? Like, I understand the whole burning a witch at the stake and like all kinds of weird shit like that, but like none of that made any sense to me. And like it just felt like it was overdone just for the sake of it looking better. But then and then like how it all ends and stuff. I liked the ending. It was actually pretty gruesome, and I thought that was like a really well made way to make it end, I guess. But
yes, Sybil's death is actually, to me, pretty stomach churning, because like I can't think of anything that's like readily available. Let me put it that way, because like there's obviously like some.
Did
really,
you say
like,
Evil Dead, the original one, does something like that with the tree? Like, I haven't seen the original, but I saw the second one. It seems very in line with that.
Well, not Sybil's death. You're talking.
Oh,
about
I'm talking about
Christabel.
that one.
I'm talking
that
about.
one.
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, Sybil's the cop.
Oh yeah.
When she literally is like they don't catch her on fire. She's literally roasting over it, and you're watching her skin like blister and stuff like that. That is like stomach churning to me, because I can't really think of a film off the top of my head that's like a readily available film that like shows it in that much like gratuity. Like just like
a lot of vampire movies and stuff like that do that kind of.
But it's so much quicker. Like they just kind of linger on it, and you're watching her like breathe heavy, and like it's very realistic to me anyhow of what it would be like to be fucking just roasted alive, and then she fucking just ends up erupting because of the flames. So I thought that death was pretty cool and stuff. But yeah, when you're talking about the Christabella one, it's very, very reminiscent of in the first Evil Dead movie, where a woman is raped by a tree, by a tree and vines and stuff like that, and that's how the evil gets into her. And I'm wondering how much of that was an influence for this scene. Granted, it's not vines and thorns; it's fucking rusty ass razor wire. That
I couldn't help but think of 13 Ghosts at that setting when on 13 Ghosts at the end with all of like the windy stuff when she's coming up and we have all of the windy razor wire. So I've dubbed this movie your 13 Ghosts, Nick.
This is my 13 Ghosts. I'll take that.
This is your 13 Ghosts.
That 13 Ghosts is way better. I'm sorry.
It really isn't.
It is. That movie is actually pretty good.
Which is why it's Nick's 13 Ghosts, because he does not like 13 Ghosts.
He did not.
And we don't like this because he knows this from his childhood.
Yeah.
We know that from
I was
ours.
an adult when this came out. I mean, I was like 20 years old.
Younger years.
But my nostalgia, like I said, I'm wearing rose-shaded glasses watching this because it's like, oh yeah, I love this song and I love I remember that scene.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that kind of shit from the video games. If I never played the video games, I would have a completely different opinion of this.
It's probably why me and Tasha are where we are with it in comparison to you, because we have no skin in the game. So
What is going to be interesting though is the movie that's supposed to come out this year is supposed to be based on the second game, which is insanely depressing and super dark. So I'm kind of interested to see how they do that. It's supposed to be the same director and everything.
Hope they write better. They have better writers.
I'm hoping, it's been, what is this, 2016? It's almost, or 2006. It's 18 years.
18 years, yep.
So this movie's old enough to vote now, So, but it is kind of funny though that in a horror film that Sean Bean is in, he actually survives.
That's true. I know, that's very rare. He likes to die in the stuff he's in.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's actually a tabletop RPG that you play a bunch of different Sean Beans.
Okay.
And you see who can survive the longest.
Okay. So Ned Stark and what is
he was the bad guy in
Boromir.
Yep.
And who was the bad guy in what?
He was the bad guy in GoldenEye.
Okay.
Dies in that one. Like he's just getting fucked up left and right.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of stuff. So, and some of his stuff is not very long, but he plays his part. So
now this might kill you, girls, but in the original final cut, the implication is that Alessa was burned alive because she was seen as sin incarnate due to being born out of wedlock and tainted because she was raped by her school janitor, which I'll go further, but you were mentioning about the janitor. That is an original character made for this game, for this movie.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
It was very cool. Like the way that he's tortured and everything. And I thought it was really fucking neat. But scenes were shot for the film that ended up on the cutting room floor depicting Alessa with psychic powers from a very young age, such as causing butterflies to fly erratically. Her display of powers was supposed to give the cult more a reason to burn her, as they mistakenly believed she was a witch due to her psychic powers, in addition to how she was conceived. But the majority of this context is missing from the final cut. In the film canon, though, Alessa is still canonically psychic, as she uses her powers to create hellish alternative realities and to keep herself alive by continuously operating the hospital equipment. So they could have fucking focused on that shit, but instead they focused on the Sean Bean shit. Like it's all that kind of stuff that it's like it makes you wonder how
they could have gave us more of the nurses too.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So the reason they're sexy, right? Sexy nurses but fucked up faces again is because of our main character from the second game. Not gonna spoil all that or whatever, but he objectifies women and certain things, and like all the creatures in that are like heavily overly sexualized and stuff like that, except for Pyramid Head. So like that's why it's like they don't have faces, but their bodies, like all that kind of stuff is the way he views women. Yeah. Stuff like that. So like just throwing them in here with Alessa, it's just like, what the fuck?
But she was in a
this is a hospital, so we need sexy nurses.
Yeah. That's kind of how I pulled
the whores.
Yeah.
What was with the nurse crying in Alessa's room?
Okay, so that is actually from the video game.
It seemed very game-ish. Yeah.
Correct. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head, but so she's part of that whole drug running scenario in the.
So she's what?
Oh, hold on.
She's part of something that's not touched on at all. Then.
Well, she is and she isn't, because she is the nurse that is taking care of Alessa. The thing is that she doesn't even know that's what's going on, because she's like addicted to this drug and all this stuff. And she ends up coming to terms, like coming to the realization of what's going on. And when that starts to happen, she like starts bleeding and all this stuff. She ends up dying. So the idea of her just being there with like her eyes all fucked up, crying and stuff, it's kind of just fan servicey. Like, well, there's that nurse. We'll just put her in there. And it is creepy and weird and whatever. Yeah. But it doesn't fucking like it's just another like, oh, well, we've got this thing. Just jam the square peg into the round hole, and it's a lot of that kind of stuff.
They just have not very good writers.
It's very much of the time though. Like the same thing could be said about like, okay, the Resident Evil games and the movies, not even fucking close to the same narrative or characters or anything.
No, but the movies were actually decent.
No.
Yes, they were. I liked all of them.
I think if you're going to put a character in a movie that's known from the game, it should follow the same like story, or it should be, you should know why it's in there instead of it just being plopped in a different different area.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think that they could have taken the first game and made an hour-and-a-half movie that made sense and still put their own twists on stuff. But the problem is like, all right, we're gonna focus. Okay, so we have a 2-hour movie. We're gonna focus on Sean Bean stuff. Cut that out. You got like an extra 15 minutes easy, right? We're about down to 145 already. Sweet.
Cut out the cop stuff.
Well, you got to have the cop. The cop does
not the stuff in the early part.
Yeah, no.
The beginning of the movie.
The beginning of the movie.
Literally, just start the movie with her driving.
Yes,
right. Yeah,
and wreck, because it's there's no explanation in the games and stuff.
Not needed.
Of like this, they're going to Silent Hill because of this. They're just on a trip, and it just happens. So the town basically just kind of calls to them or whatever, and they just end up there.
And that would have been a better plot line than this.
And then cut way the fuck back on the cult stuff. Like you could have still done the culty stuff and not had Christabella being this like evil person, while Dahlia, like they're forcing the motif of motherhood so much that it ruins the bad guy, like the original bad guy. It makes it so much worse that her own mother is who did this to her.
That would have been a better bad guy.
And they're just like, no. We want all the moms to be good because that's what we're trying to hammer home. And it's like, you're not doing any service to your story by forcing that. It's like you came up with the idea first. And like, if you really think about it, okay, the whole motherhood thing, the main character, Rose, is a man. So we changed that. And then the other mother is the bad guy. Well, we fucking changed that. It has no place in here.
No.
Right.
So,
Anyway, okay.
All right. I gotta breathe for a second.
I can tell.
I feel like this movie has so much potential.
I agree with Tasha.
That's
100%.
Like, if they made a remake of this movie, or like the fact that a new one's coming out, I think the new one would be good as long as they have good acting.
Yeah.
Because like you said, and like they have a better story. So those two big, gigantic things.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff, a lot of the visual stuff is cool from the old one. A lot of like the movement components are shoddy for old CGI, but I think the style of everything looks really neat. So it has good bones.
Yeah, it's all style, negative substance. Like,
Right, yeah. Just terrible execution.
Yeah. But,
Okay.
all right, let me think if there's anything else that I need to bring up here. Okay, so if you like Silent Hill, right, or there was things about this that were like, okay, for me, for instance, like the music and stuff, the soundscapes and all that, you can find the soundtracks for Silent Hill like on Spotify and all that stuff. That's all, like those are some, like Akira Yamaoka's music, as horrifically like discordant stuff as it is very like zen to me. Like I'll fucking turn that shit on and it's just like jun 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 jun. I'm just like, yeah, relaxing, nice. But so kind of going back a little bit, if you like the soundscapes and stuff, so Akira Yamaoka was like, I'm gonna make some like industrial stuff, but then I'm gonna make some like trip hop stuff and everything. If you like that kind of stuff, yeah, check out like Merzbow, check out Lustmord, who did music for The Void and stuff like that.
Okay.
If you're wanting more of that like really grimy industrial stuff, and then if you're wanting like more of like the dreamy trip hoppy stuff, check out bands like Portishead or you know, stuff like that. There's another one that's coming to mind that's escaping me. They did the song Inertia Creeps. The album's called Mezzanine. They did Massive Attack. Check out Massive Attack. There you go. If you got that kind of stuff going on, cool. If you also like kind of like the dreamy, weird setting and stuff of this, definitely check out, you know, David Lynch's stuff. Eraserhead is fucking really weird. Check out Twin Peaks, all that kind of stuff. There's also movies like Jacob's Ladder that came out in the early 90s that this movie and stuff definitely borrows from, and it's weird like nightmare scenarios, and all of that stuff is done way better. So all of that kind of stuff, you know, like there are definitely things that if you listen to this because you love the video games, then you forgot how you feel about this movie. Maybe you like this movie, maybe you hate this movie, I don't know. But if you're wanting those vibes and stuff, those are some things to check out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check out some David Lynch stuff, because that's one I've never dabbled in. He's a writer and director I don't think I've ever seen.
His stuff is an acquired taste. That's about... I try to go into it without sounding so fucking head up my own ass on it. He is probably the biggest director that is the most acquired taste director that I can think of.
Okay. What would you say would be a good, like, beginner David Lynch movie?
Starting point?
Like I mean... intro.
Like, Twin Peaks is a television series. Start from there if you want. Like, start from the beginning. Like, there's 2 seasons of it that were shown in the early 90s. Then HBO, they made, like, a 3rd season way later. Stuff like that. But if you're looking for, like, just a movie, I would suggest something like The Lost Highway. Or... what's another one? You're really wanting some nightmare fuel, like, and not because it's like scary, it's just uncomfortable.
I like uncomfortable.
Is Eraserhead. Eraserhead is so wildly like nightmare logic. Like you're like watching it, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And like the way people are acting and the way things are going, it's just like, what is... So that kind of it's unsettling is the best way to put it. It's just makes you feel weird.
I like movies that do that. So.
Yeah, we watch Infinity Pool. Tasha,
exactly.
Tasha's gonna come in here next week with just like a big old like David Lynch hoodie and all this stuff. She's like, I have found my Jesus.
I found my people.
Yeah, I think it very well could be. I'm having a hard time right off the top of my head just coming up with like his filmography. Let me see here.
That's fine.
Because I
I have it right here.
Other
Dune.
Ones. Yeah,
Grandmother.
He did the original. Velvet. Oh, there you go. Blue Velvet's another really good one. But yeah,
Mulholland Drive. I know. I think I've seen that one.
Mulholland Drive is a heavy film. But yeah, so realistically, like I would suggest his earlier films specifically because the further you go into his filmography, the fucking like weirder, and not like weird into like, whoa, that was crazy, that was cool. Just like the more like confusingly weird, like what the fuck am I watching? They become.
Okay.
So that's why.
Exciting.
Yeah. So it's weird.
All right, back to Silent Hill.
Yeah. The Silent Hill, the fucking franchise that David Lynch didn't even know that he bore.
Yeah.
But okay, another weird thing. I mean, we've talked about the movie, right? We've talked like is there much more about the movie?
No.
No. Okay. So I'm just going to give you some tidbits though about the video games. If that's cool.
Okay.
So just some fun little bits. Okay. So the school, Midwich Elementary School, is in the video game. It's a very big point in the game and everything. And so the map for it is straight up the same exact school map as the school from Kindergarten Cop.
Oh,
They straight up just lifted it and they're like, that's our school.
that's nice.
This will do.
This is what we got to do now, guys. All right. Also, let me see here. Bring it up real quick. Street names in Silent Hill, which they do kind of show while she's running through the town and stuff.
They make a really good point of her stopping at all of those, almost like bus stop maps.
Yeah, all of the roads in Silent Hill are named after horror authors.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there's like Bachman Drive, which Richard Bachman is Stephen King's second name that he wrote under for a bit.
Okay.
Robert Bloch, Ray Bradbury, Michael Crichton, James Elroy, Jack Finney, Dean Koontz. There's a Koontz Avenue.
Okay.
I love Michael Crichton.
Carl Sagan, which is not horror, but Carl Sagan. There's a Sagan Drive. Like, there's all sorts of. So there's all of these little nods to like what they love and everything.
That's cool.
And then like on top of that, the drug in the original game is called PTV, which is short for psychic TV. Which psychic TV is a post-industrial kind of group by Genesis P. Orge. That's the name of the person, the trans woman that started from a industrial group called Throbbing Gristle from the late 70s, early 80s that invented industrial music. So that's kind of thrown into the mix of just kind of showing, a lot more of influence of like, they're just like, we really fucking like this stuff. And it's just like these guys that had no oversight and we're just like, we're going to make what we really want. We like this stuff. Like Western movies. Sure. David Lynch. Love Eraserhead. Let's fucking make a video game that's like as uncomfortable as that. The Fog, for instance, is straight up just a technical limitation. The draw sight in the video game wasn't far enough. Things would just pop up, so they're like, let's just throw a fog down so you can't see as far.
Wow.
And it became a staple in the series.
Yes, like it's known to be like, it's almost in the zeitgeist, like, oh, it feels kind of Silent Hill out when there's that lingering light fog.
Yep.
I remember talking to you about that as a kid when we would walk to school in the morning on foggy days.
Yep. Oh, fuck. We're going to get God out here.
Yeah. Man, that's nuts.
But yeah, then also, like, if you look up, like, Francis Bacon paintings
I did.
and look at the creature design and stuff, it is fucking, like, not night and day, night and night. Like, you can see, like, oh, that is fucking high influence there.
And he's from the 1600s,
Yes.
too.
So imagine,
which is even weirder that was popular back then. So I wonder what, like, people thought of him.
I was going to say, popular back then is not a phrase said by a lot of painters back then.
They're usually not famous till they die.
Yep.
Gotcha.
They die starving, and then other people that bought their paintings make all the money.
I'm looking up Francis Bacon.
Oh,
it's terrifying.
Fuck yeah. It's literally like...
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I've seen some of his stuff. Yeah.
Especially the one where, like, there's a person ripped in half and a man holding an umbrella underneath.
Yeah.
Almost as if, like, I don't want gross on me.
Literally the final death scene in the movie. If you think about it, Christabella getting ripped in half and Alessa dancing. Well, and not Alessa. It's this dark entity that came to Alessa. Again, that doesn't fucking make sense.
So Alessa going into Rose, there's no real point in that?
No.
Because that doesn't happen?
No. It's all bullshit.
Yeah. and it seems like the bullshit bits are the bits that we don't really get. So it did not translate. It did not go over well.
No. They need to work. They need to rewrite their stuff a little bit better.
Yeah, it's legit, like you were saying. Like, it's just failure of execution, or somebody that just was high on their own supply. Like, oh, I know what I'm going to do if I get the rights to the. And the dude worked for 5 years to get the rights. So when he fucking got it, he was like, "This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna fucking do it like this and everything." So
and no one could tell him no.
It is what it is. I mean, obviously they were able to tell him more Sean Bean. Damn it, more Sean Bean. But
oh man.
All right, let's get into our reviews.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Just kind of get it out of the way, because I'm the only one that is going to give this a positive review.
Probably.
So obviously, I'm going into this as Silent Hill being top 5. Well, it's on my Mount Rushmore of IPs. Like, there's just it hit me at the right time, and I fucking loved it. Is the movie a good movie? That is up for debate. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think that if I had not, okay, I'm trying to think of this removing my actual love for the series and stuff. Well, here's the thing. A lot of my problems and stuff with the movie stem from, well, they changed this and they changed that, and it doesn't make sense that they did that. Okay. So trying to look at it as its own standalone thing, you know. The graphics, the little baby things at the beginning are fucking horrible. Like, super, super bad.
Yeah, the faces on the bugs that got smashed, also bad.
I laugh at that every time, because it just like rolls over and it's like, I'm just like, yeah, fucking squish that bitch. But like the scene, for instance, okay, so you got that. But then the scene where like the miners or whatever are out there and they're getting attacked by them and they're like fall. That shit's like fucking really cool looking. When you see the town change and everything, the fucking literally the first time that air raid siren goes off, it is so oppressively loud. It's just and everything, and everything starts going dark, and she kicks on the lighter and shit. All right, this is fucking, here we go, you know. It's a lot of that stuff. I love the soundtrack. Even if I didn't play the Silent Hill games and stuff like that, I already have a fascination with like industrial music and stuff like that, so it would have already gotten me there, you know. I like cult movies, I like culty stuff, so it's got that for it. Whether it's the best or the worst, I don't know. All that being said, the reason though for the season for me, you get the fog, You get the creepy setting and everything. They say the word Silent Hill enough. You see the sign. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, here we are. We're here. We're in Silent Hill. This is pretty rad. You girls are going to be like, absolutely not. But
Lay it on us.
I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Because I will watch this again. I will.
Yeah.
I've watched it twice this year. So like it happens. Like this is a cozy watch for me because I already know the plot in and out from all the games and all that shit. So like you just throw it on and just like, I'm going to get some air raid sirens. I'm going to get some creepy bits. I can fall asleep or whatever, but then I'll wake back up and be like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. Whatever, you know, hopefully I fall asleep whenever the little girl's on screen, you know, it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, like, it's not the greatest movie ever, but I think it's a serviceable film. If you're just looking for something to throw on or whatever, I wish it was shorter. I think that's the biggest thing. I wish it was an hour and a half. 2 hours, and what they do with that 2 hours is pretty upsetting.
I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, 6 out of 10.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go next just to get it out of the way because I don't have a whole lot to say. I watched the movie. I didn't know what to expect. It was a movie. And it was... it had some cool parts in it, but the plot was terrible. So, because it just didn't make any sense to me. And there was a lot of filler that was unnecessary. And I agree that it should have been an hour and a half long. The acting was subpar. And I liked all the creature feature stuff mostly, except for the babies, because that was stupid. But the bugs were cool, and there's some other scenes that were cool. And that's what makes me sad about this movie, because if they had done it better and the plot had been better, I would have just been excited just to see those cool things in a movie. So, I'm going to be nice, I guess, kind of. I think I would maybe watch this movie again. No, I don't know. Maybe bits of it. I would probably fast forward all the parts I didn't like because that would be a waste of my time and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to give this a 4. I didn't hate it like Exorcist and Buffy hate it, but I didn't love it. And so I'm going to give it a 4-star.
That's fine, I suppose.
It's not like the Reanimator where you're like so in love with it and Tasha and I are like, no.
What's happening?
Yeah. And how can you say that you don't love Reanimator? You girls met Jeffrey Combs.
We did.
You love him. You got your picture with him?
We did get our picture with him. He is, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he seems really nice, but yeah, that's just no. The Reanimator's not my jam, but he seems like a nice guy, so yeah. Okay.
Pro Jeffrey Combs, not pro.
Yeah. Reanimator. Yeah.
All right, Tasha. The floor is yours. Be nice.
Don't be nice. Don't be nice.
I'm sorry. Like I said at the beginning of this, the acting really took me out of it. It was alarmingly poor acting coming from Sybil and Rose, especially. I didn't notice the little girls acting, but like Anna was bad, and I didn't know how to take the movie, I think was part of it, knowing if it was supposed to be like a game or if it was supposed to be like an actual movie. So that was complicated. There were a lot of parts that just didn't make any sense. I actually feel like I had to really pay attention to this movie because there were so many plot holes.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
There was a lot of me thinking I missed something.
Me too.
But I didn't. It just was never said.
True.
It happened while we were looking at Sean Bean.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff, needed to just be nixed. Especially when he breaks into the records place. That whole thing was so blown over the top. It was just dumb. And then he goes to jail or gets talked to the detective. All of that was way too much. It didn't need it. We could have learned everything we needed to know by Dahlia's character. She was my favorite out of the whole movie. Like Nick said, I do like the culty, witchcrafty vibes to it. But overall, there was just so much that could have been cut out. I really liked when Pyramid Head came out. I thought that was super awesome.
That's like the best part of the whole movie. I'm not gonna
100%.
Especially after seeing Pyramid Head like in the wild over the weekend at a con we went to.
Yeah. And that costume was also awesome.
Right. So I was super stoked about that part.
Yeah.
And then the end scenes with the deaths, I think I'm not a huge fan of over the top. So once again, that took me out of it. So there was definitely I felt more detached to this movie than I felt attached to it, which is a huge problem because I'm usually one that can just fall in and be cool with whatever's happening. But this one, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It does make me want to play the game. I will say that. So it inspired gameplay. Don't ever plan on watching this movie again. We'll watch the new one though.
Yeah, I will
because,
too.
like I said, there's a lot there that could be done awesomely within the right hands, with the right director, with the right screenwriter. But this was not good.
Well,
Okay.
and I'm not saying this to try and sway you or anything.
Yeah,
But think about at the time.
but he is.
No. This is just something that kind of, because like right now we're in this weird boom of like video game adaptations being fucking good. That didn't happen then. Like,
Yeah, I know.
You have to remember like the Mario Brothers movie from the 90s.
I actually liked that.
Oh my
no,
God,
that
no.
was bad.
It was
very bad.
It was a good bad.
The Mortal Kombat movie from back then.
That was also
garbage.
Also good
my
bad.
God.
Well, I've actually found it. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Let me find this real quick. Tasha, give me your score real quick so I can. What do you got? What do you got?
All said, I'm giving it a 3.5.
Okay.
Okay, that's realistically, that's better than I thought you were going to give
Me
it.
too. I thought
you were
going to
be like, it's a fucking one.
I did too.
No, it's not a 1.
Oh.
It has about 10 minutes of good stuff.
So,
Yeah.
so like when you say that the first rental you're giving a 1.5, and then the second rental you're giving a 2 because you actually got to use the whole rental.
Oh, that's true. I was going to factor that in. So if we're factoring in
Oh God, you
how
can't.
irritated I was, I'm taking off half a point, giving it a 3.
Oh no, it's not the movie's fault.
Because it's not accessible to me.
Oh,
So that gives it a 45 if
Ooh.
you're curious.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't pass.
Not
We didn't
great.
expect it to. So
Yeah, you're more than likely not gonna probably like this movie. But it like the girl said, there's a lot there to like if you can look past the car crash that is the
plot.
The plot. Like,
Yeah.
so what do
You
you
can look past the plot, the directing, and the acting.
what do you look for in a
Right.
movie if it's not story and acting? If you're in it for pure vibes, do I got a movie for you?
And but you have to realize, like, Nick would like this because Nick is a vibe person. So, like,
Yes.
that is very much like his music, what he likes, like, everything is in that vein, really, if you think about it, it kind of
Oh, yeah.
is. So, that's not me. So, yeah. It makes sense why you like it other than just the video game aspect of it. But, yeah.
I honestly, I would have given it, like, if it weren't for my, like, deep, like, understanding of the game series and my history with it and stuff like that, I can easily see, like, okay, prime example, the Resident Evil movies. I've only played a couple of the games, and those weren't anything that they were even touching on or anything like that in the movies, right? I don't even think the movies touch on the games that they're supposed to. Anyway, I watched those. Nope. I saw the first 2 and I was like, this is not for me.
See, and I like those movies. They're not great, but I do like them. But I also can go into certain movies if I know, like, there's nostalgia or, like, something that's cool about them. And I can usually overlook if I have a relationship with those those things, like the Mario Brother movies from the 90s or, like, the Mortal Kombat movies from the 90s. They're not good movies, but they're good bad movies in the sense of, like, at least you get to see something that you like. So, I mean, it gives you something to laugh at, I guess.
Here's something for you. Okay, so we've talked about Christoph Gans, the director and everything of this movie, and then you're talking about how you like Mortal Kombat and you like the Resident Evil films.
I didn't like Mortal Kombat. It was okay, but I really liked Resident Evil films. Yes.
Those are directed by the same person.
Okay, that makes sense.
So his name is Paul W.S. Anderson.
Okay.
So he also is responsible for. He does have a good movie, in my opinion. He did Event Horizon.
That was okay.
But then, yeah, he's also responsible for, I think, every Resident Evil movie, if not like half of them. He's
Okay.
also responsible for like the Monster Hunter movie that came out a couple years ago. The dude just like does video game movies, like
Yeah.
Okay.
not fucking stop.
Okay.
But yeah, that's your boy. You're a Paul
Okay.
W.S. Anderson fan, and you didn't know it. This is
Maybe a little bit.
your Mike Flanagan moment.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's
Sounds like
definitely
it
not.
to me.
No, it's not.
You didn't realize it until Nick told you. That's your
Yep.
Mike Flanagan moment.
No.
He's also responsible though. He was a producer. He produced a lot of shit. He produced, where was it? I just saw it. The 2011 Three Musketeers.
That was okay.
See, I'm telling you.
But I'm not saying they're great. I'm saying they're okay.
I'm not
They're
saying.
passable.
I'm just saying that Paul W.S. Anderson
No,
makes your
I
favorite
want-
movies.
No, I would say that if I had to pick anybody, like we already know, like I really like James Cameron movies. We already know that. I really do like his movies. So
Unacceptable.
I know you don't like most of his movies.
How dare you? How dare you? Well, I like Aliens because
Yep.
he directed Aliens.
Yep.
I like Terminator 2. He did that. I think
But you
that's
don't
it.
like Titanic,
No, fuck Titanic.
and you don't like Avatar,
No, fuck that movie.
and I love all those movies.
Gotta
So-
go.
Yeah.
You know what? While we're at it, I'm just gonna look up James Cameron. What's his LinkedIn? I'm gonna send him a very heated email right now.
Yeah, I'm so
James
sorry you're so
Cameron.
successful.
James Cameron, eat all of my ass. Love Nicholas. So, oh yeah, that's writer, producer, director. Yeah, there's some other stuff that he's also responsible for. Your boy, James Cameron. He did True Lies. I forgot.
I love that movie too. That's cute.
Yeah. So,
That's a good one.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So
I love Arnold.
yeah, he did some
Okay.
stuff. Now I'm looking at his face on his IMDb page. And fuck that guy. Anyway. So fuck
Wow.
James Cameron. That was our episode on Silent Hill.
Yes. And can we talk about what we're going to champion this week? Because I really want to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay.
You start us off.
Okay, so I have two things that I was really excited about. So,
All right, on to the next person.
shut the fuck up. So I already talked about this with Tasha and Nick and I think I've told everybody about this because I can't shut up about it. The new Roadhouse movie that's on Prime,
Oh my
and
God.
we've been having a lot of open conversations about this in my work area.
Still.
Yeah, everybody's been chatting about it and watching it. And so there's this big debate between the new one, which has Jake Gyllenhaal in it, and Conor McGregor as a bad guy, and then some other people as bad guys too. And then the original, which obviously is a Patrick Swayze film with some lovely Sam Elliott. I do miss the Sam Elliott in the new movie, but I gotta say, I really like this better than the original Roadhouse, and I thought it was really, really good, and I will stand by that. And so a lot of this on our chats have been like very split. Like everybody's like, they ruined Roadhouse. I'm like, it's not even the same film. Like this is an action film. The original was kind of an action film, but more of like a relationship building film. This doesn't build any relationships in this movie very much, but it's pretty good. I liked it, and it was good. And then last night I started reading a T.S. Joyce book, which she is an author that writes shifter romances. And I've read almost everything she's written. She probably has 100 books out. And she wrote a historical shifter romance that's about twice as long as the books that she normally writes. And I'm almost finished with it because I was up till 3:30 in the morning reading it last night. And
Yep.
it's so good. It's so good. I just love it so much. So if you like reading shifter romances, which I'm pretty sure that like most of the people listening to this probably are like, no, we're tired of hearing about your crazy weird shit.
No,
But-
everyone- how many tentacles? How many tentacles were in the new Roadhouse? That's what I want to know.
I know.
Did
And,
Jake Gyllenhaal have tentacles?
No, but he is cut as hell in that movie, so that was nice. But yeah, so if you like reading shifter books, T.S. Joyce is pretty great. So
Right on.
yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
Got anything, Tasha?
I do. Last night I watched a thriller kind of biopic, I suppose,
Okay.
called The Torture Report.
Okay.
Okay.
It's made by Apple, and it has Adam Driver and Annette Bening in it. Adam Driver's character is an FBI agent who is investigating the CIA's torture program right after
Oh.
9/11.
Delightful.
It's a 2-hour movie. It is absolutely incredible.
Okay.
So Annette Bening plays the senator that opens up the investigation, and Adam Driver is the investigator. So
Okay.
it follows his story of finding out all of this information about the
Black sites.
it was the EIT, the enhanced interrogation tactics that the CIA used, and opened up that can of worms that got released during Obama's administration. So if you're into like political type dramas, this one is so good.
I probably want to watch that. I like Adam Driver. He's a great actor.
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we also watched that other show this week that everybody's been talking about. What was it called, honey?
Quiet on Set.
Yeah, we watched.
I haven't seen that.
We watched Quiet on Set. It was like 4 episodes of it.
Yep, 4 episodes.
Our kids wanted to watch it, and like most of it is like nostalgia from when we were kids about like, the kids show world and like all of the really messed up pedophiles and stuff that were part of that world.
It was all about Nickelodeon from the early 2000s on, for the most part. Follows a producer that created a lot of shows from back then and everything, and how one of the language directors or something like that, basically one of the ones that would go over the scripts with people and stuff.
Well, he was also an actor too, a little bit sometimes too.
But he was a pedophile and rapes one of the. I mean, I'm not bursting any bubbles or everybody.
No, it's all over the internet. Yeah.
Was it Drake Bell?
Drake from Drake and Josh.
Yeah,
for an extended period of time.
Yeah,
he did go to prison for it. He did get charged for it, but apparently he's just not. Was he the same guy that was like?
Disney hired him after he was done in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not laughing at the fact that it happened, laughing at the absurdity. Just he worked on films and stuff.
That Adam Sandler has part of. Yeah.
Not that he had anything.
He himself did. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy, and it was like it was actually really interesting, and I liked it. And then Kylie watched it, and she was sending me a message, and she's like, "The main guy's birthday is the same birthday as mine," and I'm like, "I know, I'm sorry, I didn't want to text you and tell you because that's terrible." So, yeah, it was good. I liked it. So, what do you got to champion, honey?
My thing to champion is kind of weird. So. Since last episode, I dipped my toe into creepypastas. So creepypasta is a term used for internet horror stories. It's kind of coined from like the copy paste. Creepypasta is kind of where it gets its name. So people would copy and paste these stories. They're creepy. Creepypasta, that's where it comes from. So Reddit has a subreddit called No Sleep, and that is where a lot of people will just post stories. Some of these stories have been picked up for television series and stuff like that. They're very strict about people not plagiarizing and stuff like that. They've got a really good moderator system over there and everything.
That's what Slenderman's from, right?
Slenderman is a creepypasta. That is a creepypasta that has bled itself into the social consciousness to the point where people believe it, to the point where a couple kids thought it was a real thing and killed another child.
Sacrificed her first.
Yep. So I checked out a few different ones that are longer run ones that are super popular. That's where I kind of came in at. There's a podcast that was talking about them, so I got into them. One is called Baraska, that is basically about a boy whose sister goes missing, and it's in this small, quaint town, like in Virginia or where, like some mountain town. And there's just creepy happenings going on, and you follow through the story of this weird fucking town. And I sent this to Tasha. I don't know if you finished reading it or anything.
I haven't finished it yet.
Holy shit. That story is fucking crazy. It will sit with me forever. There is a dramatized podcast series that's a fully acted telling of it. So if you're not into reading and stuff like that, you can just look it up. It's called Baraska, Borasca, something like that.
You got it.
So there's that one. The second one that I did was called Pen Pal. Pen Pal has been, the entire story ended up getting collected up, and the author of it after posting it through Reddit and stuff, ended up putting it out in book form. There's been talks of a film or television series getting made about it, which would be the creepiest fucking show ever. What Pen Pal is about, oh my god. So Pen Pal it's a story following a kid, starting from like right before, well, it doesn't start here, but we bounce back and forth through time a little bit.
Okay.
It's about a boy right before kindergarten till he's about 15 is the time jump. So the story starts, though, in kindergarten. They are doing something that I think I remember doing something similar to this, where they wrote letters and sent like a picture of themselves, and they put them on balloons, and the return address was to the school. They sent the balloons out to find pen pals.
Terrible.
So this kid starts getting photos sent back to the school that are all blurry and all this stuff, and it just continues going till he's like 15 and stuff, and it's from the point of view of this kid, and it's this stalking thing. You don't know what it is until the end of the thing. I don't want to ruin anything, but it definitely sits in your crawl about like this, like being stalked or a child predator or something like that. Super creepy. I think the writer did a fucking amazing job on it. And then the last one that I read was, I listened to, was The Left-Right Game, which is fucking amazing. So Left-Right Game is the story of this journalist that is a very big skeptic, but hears about this person that takes people through the left-right game. And he explains to her that you just, first road you see, you take a left. Next one you take a right. Next one you take a left. Next one you take a right. And you do that so long that it kind of breaks a fissure in our dimension, and you will end up seeing this tunnel. And once you go through that tunnel, there's almost no turning back. Like, you have to go through it. So it's just this caravan of people going through to the other world, but it's so fucking weird, and like kind of like touches on that like Silent Hill kind of feel and everything. It was really good. It's like 11 parts. It's super long, but I'm not sure. I think they did a dramatization of that one as well that you can listen to a podcast of, but that one's just called The Left-Right Game. I believe there's a book or something. I would love to see that one though get made into like a movie or something. But that's my championing is creepypastas.
Creepypastas.
What kind of pasta do you like? I like the creepy kind.
Creepypasta.
I like the podcast kind.
Yeah, my noodles are giving me hard looks. But yeah, so there's our championing.
Yay!
So we'll get into homework.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited for this.
Yeah,
I actually am. So.
Yeah, next week it's a listener suggested bit of homework.
Yeah.
So that being said, don't forget, if you want us to cover a movie, send it to us. The middle of the episode, there's a bumper. It tells you all of our info, our emails, all that jazz, right? So this comes from Brian, and we will be covering the 1988, I believe it is, film Child's Play.
Yay.
Thanks, Brian.
You okay over there, Tasha?
No.
Would you like to talk about it?
I don't wanna.
I haven't even seen this movie in its full entirety, so I'm excited just to see
ever?
it. For, like, no, I don't think so.
wow.
If I have, I was really, really young and I don't remember all the ins and outs of it. But Chucky used to scare the shit out of me as a child, so I never watched any of his movies except for The Bride of Chucky in its full entirety. And so I am actually, like, we watched a little bit of the show, and I remember like sitting down and doing that with you. But like, yeah, I haven't actually watched any movie, like the standard movies in their entirety that I can remember. So, well, I'm excited to see that.
It is.
I can thank my mom for being afraid of this movie. She would have it on in the living room, and I remember being behind the couch while it was on, not watching it.
I wonder how much of that was mom
Our family
turning it.
movie night.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay, I was gonna say I remember this being shown like on TNT or TBS a lot when we were younger. So I'm wondering how much of it was just it, like something
It was
ended
on.
and it was just on, and then you just happened to always be there. Like, oh, I'm gonna watch the Care Bears. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
That could very well be true.
Yeah. I mean, it is creepy because, like, growing up in the 80s, we had, like, My Girl and My Boy or My Buddy dolls or whatever.
Yeah,
they're
My
called.
Buddy dolls.
Yeah. And so, like, I had the girl one, but then the boy one is what Chucky is, like, dressed up apps. And it is really fucking weird. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I am excited to see what they did with it in the 80s. So, because, like, I don't have, other than knowing what he looks like, I don't have a lot of reference. So,
Yeah, the Child's Play movies. I'm trying to think here. Quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the few horror series that I've actually seen every single one of them.
okay.
Not because it's my favorite franchise, but I just kind of have seen them all.
Mhm.
I'm 90% sure that I have, because Wesley really liked the Child's Play movies. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so like the first one, like he loved it. Like, because it's not to give anything away or anything. It's not as horribly graphic as you probably remember it being. It's more scary and stuff to a child because it's a doll that comes to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Like,
true.
as a kid, like looking back on my memories and stuff, I'm like, oh my god, it was so bloody, it was so this. It's like, it's really not that bad.
Mhm.
Especially
No.
in a world where Terrifier exists.
Oh, yeah. That's
But,
true.
but yeah, next
You can
week,
find it on Tubi for free, Pluto TV for free, and then all the other, like YouTube, Sling, Amazon Prime for a purchase.
are you going to
Okay.
rent this one twice, Tasha?
No, sir. I have Tubi. I will sacrifice through the commercials to watch it for free.
Okay.
Right on.
This one's not worth it.
I don't know.
I don't want to have to buy it.
I don't know if you need a birthday gift. I think if any of our listeners out there want to send a digital code to the email, we can make sure Tasha gets it for her birthday.
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
golly. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Ooh, trauma.
Yeah. Repressed childhood trauma. Great.
Oh, what's in this card? Dumps it out. Trauma. All right. With all that being said, for Pod of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Natasha.
Come back and listen to us. Or else.